Shall we begin?
You aren't stuck in traffic. You are traffic.
Let's begin now.
Please get that bicycle-shaped object out of this shop. Oh no, dude. No mix and match here. Black bottoms or full-on kit. Pedal on, bro. Pedal on.
Let's begin now.
Oh, geez. Learn the hard way. Wider is better.
Today is Friday, July 12th, 2019. It's my birthday. Thank you for downloading Bike Shop CX. Music I'm using on today's show is Be Jew by Philly Run. As always, you can get this tune at the Free Music Archive where you can download it coincidentally for free. All right, this week, Mr. David Palin and I, we got a lot of little stuff going on. One, we do get in our chain checker discussion that we mentioned last time and pushed to this time. We got our first audio email that we're going to play, and we've got contest, April CX Challenge contest winner, Michelle Hance, direct from Oregon. This here, she talks about her Dirty Kanza ride and just her riding in general and what she's going to do for this season. So all that stuff is really awesome. And as you'll notice, we've been doing the show using the Roadcaster lately with the special buttons and kind of doing it all at the same time. And we're not doing that this time because I have all the sound pads are all programmed for my latest episode 2 of Hazy Vinyl Jive, which just went up a couple days ago. So if you get a chance, get on over to the WAP Parts Bin. I did that with Doug Evil Knieper. I think you'll dig it. And we, of course, did the album Ziggy Stardust, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. So if you're into vinyl or music at all, get over there and check that out. You might dig it. So, all right. Well, I think that's enough of my yapping. I think you're going to like this show. CX is coming. And without further ado, the Bike Shop is open. All right, we are back for another edition of
Bike Shop CX. Wow, these mics, man.
I know.
Yeah.
What do you think of these, Mr. David?
I like them. I'm hoping that our viewers are enjoying them as much as we are.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to give them a plug. We are using the new pod mic from Rode. Everybody knows, I mean, we've talked extensively about the Rodecaster Pro, right? That I believe at least half of the wide-angle podium is using
That's
now.
right, yeah.
So, I get all my stuff from Sweetwater. If anybody's looking for any music or sound, anything, check out Sweetwater down in Indiana. And, they finally came. I ordered them months ago, and they just arrived, and this is our first...
And that's not a ding on Sweetwater that it takes them
No. They were back ordered.
Yeah,
that was In fact, my guy Josh at Sweetwater, he said, he's like, you're the first guys we're sending this to, so let me know how it goes. So we'll have to send him an email.
Yeah, hey Josh, they work out pretty well.
Yeah, maybe I'll send him a link to this.
Yeah, for sure. That's right.
Mr. David Palin.
Yes, sir.
What is going on, man?
Not much. It's been a little while since we...
Yeah, go ahead.
Since we
See, I love
sat
it.
across from one another.
I ask you a question, and then I don't let you answer
That's
it.
right. I like that. Not much is going on. We've been talking a little bit on phone, a little bit, even less than usual, texting back and forth. Come to find out why you are in the headquarters recording a special sneak episode.
That's what I was going to ask you, if you listened to the special holiday edition. That was pretty good.
Yeah, the U.S. holiday, by the way.
The U.S. holiday. We got some feedback. We got a couple of people sent emails in. I'll read those when we get to the emails. And, for viewers, if you haven't had a chance to go over and listen to that holiday special that I posted on the 4th of July, go check it out. It's really cool.
Yeah,
and what it is.
That's him talking about his stuff that he did alone. I will tell you, as a totally unbiased person, it's really cool. I mean, Scotty D and I have been talking. Not like I had the idea or had any input. Scott has been talking about doing
that.
Do we want to talk about what it is?
Sure.
Or, yep.
Yeah.
Like a recap of the year that
2007
Worlds, where Jonathan Page took Do we want to spoil it? Maybe somebody doesn't know yet.
Well, that's kind of the point of the whole
Right?
thing is a lot of people know that Paige got a second at Worlds at some point.
Right.
Many people don't know the year that it was. And then if they do know that, they've never actually seen or heard or read articles or anything
Yeah.
about how that race unfolded.
And it was really exciting. It was
it is
exciting. I
a
knew
great race.
I knew A, how it was going to turn out.
Right.
B, how the race played out.
Yeah.
But and we were talking a little bit in the green room about the production level that you put into that show.
Yeah, that was very
with the music in the
time-consuming.
background and the suspense building and the just A1.
Sonny Gilbert sent me a message, I think it was on Twitter, about now you're going to have to do a show about how you did the music for that.
Combining many of your loves
It wasn't
together
that
there.
complicated, Sonny. It was just a bunch of sound loops. It wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't vinyl? You didn't use vinyl?
I need to get Doug from the Gravel Lot because he's the Logic Pro.
He's a mix master.
Yeah.
He
And
used to work out of a closet
Yeah.
doing gigs. And,
I got to get him to do one of the soundtracks for me if I do another one of those.
I think so.
What do you think of that? Yeah. So get over there and check that out. I think you guys will like it. It's cyclocross in July.
Yeah, indeed.
And like you said, what I was going to say is a lot of people know the outcome, but they don't realize how close Jonathan Page was to winning that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
the circumstances of him
yes,
taking second place.
Yes, and things like I'll just bring up some things like the number of crashes in that race is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, important crashes that happen at the pointy end of the race, right?
By people that don't normally crash.
that change the outcome,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's just like, man, oh man, and that's one of the things Paige did is rode a near perfect race that day. So yeah, go check it out. I think you guys will dig it. So yeah.
There we go.
What else? So, Mr. David Palin.
Yes, sir.
I have the usual question for you.
Okay, let's see if I studied right this time.
What are you working on?
Oh, I was thinking you might ask this. So
Just in case.
I jotted down in some notes here. I am working, first of all,
Oh, geez.
I worked out a new thing in not just doing a pour over for my full Schleck coffee.
Yeah.
I did cold brew full Schleck coffee.
And
I worked on it. It was
did
good.
Dr. Tracy Berman help you out with that? Because I know she's like the cold brew,
We had a discussion afterward
Expert.
because she had brought me cold brew.
Okay.
She gets cold brew from a local coffee shop in Ann Arbor by where she lives over there called Ruse Roast.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent cold brew coffee. And she had brought me some, and I enjoyed it so much. I was like, I've got some full Schleck burning a hole in my freezer. I got to brew up some cold brew for the doctor.
Uh-huh.
I made it.
Wait. Yours is around long enough that you have to put it in the
know.
freezer?
Yeah.
Mine's usually gone so quickly.
You're better
That's
about
not
drinking it than I.
necessary. Okay.
And part of that is you have better brew technique and better brew systems than I do. Just doing the pour over.
Yeah. You don't
Yeah.
like that. All right.
Yeah, it's not the best way to enjoy it.
Okay.
So I brewed some up, some cold brew.
Mm-hmm.
She seemed to enjoy it because
right.
I gave her some in return for the cold brew she had prepared for me over the last few visits, and the full Schleck is good stuff. Now I can say hot or cold.
There you go.
And I've made it and chilled it in the past.
Yep.
And especially this weather we're having here in Michigan is kind of on the warm side.
Yeah, right now.
And going with a full cold brew, it is even smoother than properly brewed as a pour over or whatever.
Oh,
and
that's interesting.
So
So
it doesn't bring out the bitters
yeah.
with the cold water.
In case people don't know what we're talking about if you go to GrimpeurBrothers.com or just go to the Wide Angle Podium website, there's a link over to Grimpeur Brothers. And if you buy the full Schleck coffee or hello, cyclocross friends, it supports the network and supports the show. So
very
how
worthwhile.
cool is that?
That is really cool.
Yeah, it's very helpful. And, the more you guys buy, the more it helps us out. And it's just a way for you guys to say thanks to us and to Grimpeur Brothers because Dan does a huge amount of stuff for the cyclocross community, including trying to help sponsor Sonny Gilbert this season. Yeah. So
do it for all those good
stuff.
reasons.
Yeah.
But do it because your taste buds deserve it.
yeah, and then on top of it, you get that awesome coffee. So there you go.
So then the only other thing that's not even it's jotted here on the left side of my note page. If
Yes.
you look, it's not even a full thing. Is I had to went out for some more gravel, I had to clean up Dr. Tracy Berman's Warbird, and there was not much to do because whoever cleaned it before me did a really fine job.
And by Dr. Tracy Berman's Warbird, you mean your Warbird that used to be?
I did both.
Oh,
I did both. My Dr. Tracy Berman Warbird and Dr. Tracy Berman's Warbird. And this is an idea that I want to talk about further, and maybe some of our viewers could throw us some emails at bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah.
I
forgot it there for a second.
Is the use of ultrasonic cleaners.
Oh.
Some people swear by them. Others say not so necessary. Use a toothbrush. What parts do you put in? What parts do you make sure not to put in? Obviously, electronic shifting does not go into a ultrasonic.
Right.
But do you put some people say it's okay to put a clutch derailleur in. Others say no. So we'd love to hear from our viewers at
bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
Yeah,
I'd love to bring this up in a
I don't like
future
to put a
episode.
rear derailleur in the sonic cleaner.
I was of the mindset, especially before I had a clutch rear derailleur, you just put it in.
Yeah.
But come to find out, there's grease in parts where you want grease.
Yeah, if you do a full overhaul of a rear derailleur, you realize when you take that inner plate off, the one that's usually attached, there's a spring in there.
Yep.
And really, most of the rebuild processes tell you when you're putting it back together, fill that with grease.
Yeah.
That springs in. So you're definitely getting solvent stuff in there in that grease if you sonic clean it. So
yeah. So tell us we're wrong. Tell us you agree. But tell us
though,
for sure.
Front derailleurs,
Yeah.
go for it.
If I had one, I would be putting it in.
Cassettes, go for it.
Yep.
Chains, go
for
for
sure.
it. I wouldn't put a freewheel in for the same reasons.
Yeah.
Just clean that and then
Yeah.
oil it. And, So, yeah, no, that's good stuff. What? Here's another one I want to throw out there. If people have any great ideas.
Yeah.
You know, you've heard of this thing called 3D printing, right?
My son has a 3D printer.
I think of all the industries in the world, the bike industry is one that could be significantly changed by 3D printing. Think of the
Rear
bike parts that you could 3D print.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, even like derailleur hangers alone.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah.
You don't have to stock derailleur hangers. You just print them.
Yeah. When
Things like
necessary, yeah.
brake levers. So if anybody thinks of any, like, what are other really good parts? Obviously, you could print any of the small pieces of, say, a derailleur. You
Yep.
could print the jockey wheel guides and stuff like that. You could print jockey wheels, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Without the bearings, obviously, in it, but then you just put those in.
Yep.
So, yeah, what are, like, if anybody has any, like, amazing ideas of what you could 3D print on a bike, brake lever. Just the lever part, right?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if that's broken or cracked, you just print that up. So, yeah, any
I can imagine some head badges.
too bad. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that. So that's
Yeah.
it. That's brilliant. So there
Yeah.
you go. So, yeah, if you have any good ideas like that, send us
Yeah.
an email, bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
bikeshopshow@gmail.com. You know, I was thinking with Dr. T's Hakalugi,
Yes.
you could do, as it's become known amongst the gravel riders on Sunday, the Fist of Fury that holds the
hand job, yes. I'll use the real name.
Yeah, Dr. T's not real fond of that name on her bike, so
Yeah,
we just
yeah.
call it. She just calls it the Fist of Fury. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
All right. So all that. Sorry, I took up half the show already.
Yeah.
What you working on?
Oh, I almost forgot. So I'm working on, did I tell you about the Triumph, the old 3-speed Triumph that I'm working on?
I thought you were working on a motorcycle, which
No,
would
no,
be
no,
really
no.
cool.
No, this is an old 3-speed Triumph that my stepmom was given by a lady at an art show. The lady who's putting on this art show, they live in Minneapolis.
Right.
And this lady who's putting on this art show had this old Triumph 3-speed sitting out and said, with a sign on it that says "free to a good home." So she was like,
Did she have to have like a background check or anything like that? Or?
she was like, Scott can rebuild this for
yeah,
me.
yeah. So with the thumb shift 3-speed?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to redo a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I'm not going to leave it at 3-speed. I'm going to put probably an 8-speed Nexus on it.
Yeah.
A dyno hub on the front.
Yeah.
Because she wants to commute on it. And just kind of make it the neo retro look, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to still have all the retro thing kind of feel and look to it.
Right.
But I'm going to upgrade. I mean, you got the biggest thing, in my opinion, is brakes, right?
Right.
Those old brakes
You want
are
brakes
just crap.
to stop, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
just junk. So, yeah, we're going to upgrade the brakes, upgrade the brake levers, upgrade the rear wheel. And I'm basically going to build wheels for it.
Yep.
Put a rack on it and all that stuff. So I was just getting, you know the saying, the most expensive bike
Is the
I
one you get
have
for
is the
free?
one I got for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already dropped, just getting parts, $800.
Yeah, and that's free labor, by the way.
That's right.
And I would
that's-
imagine you're not paying full retail
No,
on those
no,
parts.
no.
So for those of you out there that
I'm not-
don't have the advantage of being able to do all the work yourself and
Yeah.
buying stuff at good prices.
Yeah, I'm going to need more. This is just enough to build the wheels. It's the hubs, it's the rims, it's the spokes. It does include the lights, though.
It does include
I
lights,
forget
yeah.
what's that brand that has the ones that run off the dyno hub.
And then has a USB plug in the back of it.
No, they
so
don't
you
have
can
a
charge other things.
I don't think it has that, but but they're really nice, real high quality. I mean, those were expensive.
Yeah.
Those were almost $300 of the money. And they have
Yeah.
there's like a capacitor in it so that when you stop at a stop sign or lights or at an intersection while you're commuting, the lights stay on. They don't dim because you've stopped.
Not like the old one that used to have the dyno that would go up against your tire.
Yeah, no. That's what was on it.
Was it
There
really?
was one of those
Yeah.
on it. That's I've removed that.
State of the art in its day.
Yeah, so no, even though, once you stop, they stay on, I forget what it is, 3-4 minutes or something, and then they go again when you go. So, and that's rear and front stay on. So
Hey,
that's
in the
nice.
future, we're going to be talking about some lights.
We are?
We are.
Oh, good.
A little tease there, but it's not quite ready for prime time yet.
Right,
but we're going to be talking about
I think
some
I know
lights.
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll be good. Well, that'll be a good thing to talk about. So, anyways, I got that all taken apart. My one issue, of course, you're worried about seat tube stuck, stem stuck.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
And these things did happen?
This
or?
thing was in a barn for years, right?
Yeah.
No, I got those out. That's
Yeah.
all fine. The only thing I haven't taken out is, on the old serviceable bottom brackets,
Yes.
it was, of course, a codded crank.
Nice.
Right? So, and those things were not coming out with the hammer.
No.
No. But I do have access to one of the things about having access to Rebike, right?
Mm-hmm.
The shop is we have one of those cotter pin remover tools.
It's amazing for something as simple as that.
And
if you
people
have the
think
right tool.
People think, because they're not cheap. I mean, those things are hand machined by the people that are making them now. I know Park has an old one, and we happen to have one because someone donated it. Yeah. But they're hard to, you can't just find those easily. Yeah. But there's a guy, I believe he's also in Minneapolis, making these. And, it is a beautiful tool. I mean, he's putting serious work, and it's really hard steel. But, you sit and you beat on these things with a hammer. You're like, I don't even know if the tool is going to get these. You put the tool on, you give it a couple turns, and it just pushes it right out like it's nothing.
Amazing.
You're just like, oh, my God, why did I sit here and sweat with this? But I get it, because how often do you come across cotter? I mean, at Rebike, we come across them enough to make getting the tool. But the tool's like $70 or something. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
So you're like, how many cotter
like,
cranks am I going to come across?
You don't generate a lot of money, obviously, at Rebike. But these people that always talk about, like the Philwood spoke cutter. How many spokes do you have to cut to make it pay for itself? It's part of it's part of being a shop that builds quality wheels.
Exactly.
You have the tools.
Exactly.
Because how many dollars does your spoke wrench generate? Right.
That's my counter argument to that every time.
Right.
It's like a spoke wrench costs you $3 or $4, and how many thousands of dollars do you make from that?
Exactly.
So that's what offsets the expensive tools that you don't make a lot of. You have to have what you have to have.
Yeah.
You can't use that argument, I don't think. So, but yeah, we're just at Rebike it makes sense. What I'm talking about for me at home, it's just tough because I come and I have access to one, so it's not like it's a deal breaker.
But, I mean, how often are you pulling crown races? Because you do have a crown race puller.
Oh
here,
yeah.
You have a lot of tools here that.
Oh yeah.
That
I mean, I have more tools here than I have at the shop. I mean, it's crazy. It's great. But my basement basically is a shop. So
yes.
Someone was telling me the other day about this shop, my local shop got that Park electric work stand, the one that's powered.
Yeah. That shop must be making so much money.
I was like, yeah, that's what I got in my basement.
Yeah. Dual-sided, yes.
Double-sided one, too, yeah. So
a PK Lie.
I had another guy. He was he's doing this like database of truing stands, right?
Yeah.
And he was talking to the guy right next to me about the PNK Lie stand going on, and he's like, And I said, oh, yeah, that's one of the wheel trimming stands that I have is that P&K Live. He's like, no, you don't. He's like, no.
No, you don't understand what I'm talking about.
You don't understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This thing is like $1,500.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's what I paid for.
Yeah. Yeah. And now you understand why Mrs. Diedenbach is St. Sean.
That's right. Well, in all fairness, just so people know, that was my 50th birthday present to myself. Actually, from my wife to me for my 50th birthday. It wasn't like, I don't just buy, that's not like, oh, I'm just going to buy $1,500.
I need to rebuild a wheel. Yeah. I'm going to buy a P&K Live.
Right. So, all right. So, all right, Mr. David Palin.
Yes, sir.
What the heck are we doing today?
I thought that we were going to use our Roadcaster Pro board and bring someone on board with us.
We
That's what I heard.
We are eventually. We have one of the winners of our April CX challenge on Instagram contest.
It's July.
Yes, Michelle Hance from, I think she's in Oregon. She's going to tell us where she's from.
Yeah, she's in Pacific Northwest.
I think she's in Oregon somewhere, and we're going to be Skyping her in a little bit. But until then,
yes, sir.
Do you have life insurance?
I do. What's going to happen when we get Michelle on? I do have life insurance. And, I was going to mention this last time. Google follows me around and Amazon and Facebook. Even though I'm not on Facebook anymore, they all follow me.
Yeah.
And now on one of the apps I use where you get these targeted ads,
right?
I get an ad that says, if you're a pharmacist, you should go to healthiq.com and get better rates on your insurance.
As should everybody.
As should everyone.
Actually, we want them to go to healthiq.com/WAP for wide angle podium.
WAP, WAP.
Health IQ has been a huge supporter of the network. Did you listen to the Gravel Lot with Spencer on?
I listened to Gravel Lot with Spencer.
I recommend people go listen to Spencer talk about the network and what the philosophy of this network is. I guarantee you'll be like, wow, that is pretty cool. Nobody here is getting rich. We're like turning things back around to the bike industry to try and help people do things that they're trying to do. So that is what it's about.
Yeah.
Health IQ has been a supporter of that almost since the beginning and for years since then. So just big props to them. So if you get the time, go to, and I know everybody's like, oh, they're listening right now in their car and they're thinking, oh, I'll get to that. I'll do that later.
Yeah, pull over.
We need
over.
you to go do it now,
Yeah.
right? Go do it as soon as you get home or whenever you can and actually do it. Don't just keep saying, I'm going to get to that one day and so actually support these guys.
And some things that we ask people to do, and a lot of things people do, right? Some things are going to cost them money, such as becoming a subscriber, which you should do.
This costs you
like
how
getting
much?
coffee. You should do.
Yes.
Here, it costs you
Nothing.
$0.
Nothing. Just
$0 helps us out.
And it may save you money, right?
It may indeed, yeah.
As-
Because life
as-
insurance is an important thing. We're talking about
Right.
like whether or not you sign up with Health IQ just once. Maybe you should. You should think about it. You should look at it.
Yeah.
Look at all your options. But just by going and do this, it costs you nothing.
Yes.
$0. My favorite payment.
And they are, they're a company that is like looks after athletes. They understand that a lot of especially high level athletes might skew the normal metrics that are used to figure out how much someone should pay for life insurance.
Right.
And they understand that, and they use different metrics so that they can understand that, oh, the reason why you skew the regular metrics is because you're a very well-trained athlete or you're just an active person who is getting out there and is lower risk. So they give you a lower rate. They don't keep it themselves. They actually pass it along to you. So go check it out, healthiq.com/WAP. We really, really appreciate it, don't we, Mr. David Palin?
We do indeed. You will not be disappointed, and I bet you will pass the exam.
Yeah, I mean, getting to be elite is not that difficult. Well, for people that listen, for cyclists, and if you don't meet the elite status, there's your training goal for the next month or two or whatever. Yeah. So there you go. All right, Mr. David Palin.
Yes, sir.
So before we we're going to do things a little bit out of order. I do want to get on to talk about chain checkers, but we're going to be calling Michelle in less than 10 minutes. And we're going to try and actually record just the whole call, right? From the minute we dial the Skype thing.
We make
and
sure
everything.
that we warn her up front. Cause,
I mean, I am going to edit this afterwards probably, but...
Yeah, because she's a foul mouth, if I remember correctly. No. Oh, poor Michelle. I'm sorry. No, that's not cool. Not cool. Sorry, Michelle.
Actually, you know what? I don't know if you heard that, but she just I
heard the
texted
bloop.
me on Skype.
Yeah.
So let me see if she's ready, and if she is, we'll do that right now. I was going to do. We have an audio call.
We do an audio call. What are they?
Well,
it was
actually audio email. So someone did a recording. I think it's someone you'll know. And,
I may know.
And send it to us because I forgot. I had kind of forgotten that we put that out there, right?
Yeah.
So
and I'm not surprised that this person was the first person to take advantage of that either. Trendsetter that he is.
So it sounds like, my L key on my keyboard is dying.
Oh no. That reminds me of it was an old Stephen Wright joke that talked about the fact that his calendar.
Stephen Wright cracked
Yeah,
me up.
he's
Man.
so funny.
He's like, what do you add to dehydrated water?
Yeah.
Just ridiculously
the
stupid.
The 7 is missing from my clock. And I don't know how long it's been like that because there's no 2s on my calendar.
All right, I'm going to call Michelle. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
I love that sound.
It's loud.
She's loud.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hey, is this Michelle? It must be.
Yes.
Don't say
yes,
anything.
it is.
Don't say anything bad.
You sound wonderful. You sound like you're like right next door.
Oh, really?
Yes.
These are just the headphones that came with my iPhone that have been
Awesome.
through the wash like 10 times. But I figured if they didn't work, we'd try to prepare.
They've been through the wash 10 times like any good cyclocross racer.
Yeah.
Of course. So yeah, we had started the show, and so like we're rolling right now. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, just so you know, everybody's going to hear all
Great.
this. So Michelle, welcome to Bike Shop CX. How
Hi.
awesome is this?
It's super exciting.
And thank you for participating in the April CX Challenge.
Yeah, that was fun too. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, you were. I mean, there was several people that did entry for every single day, Mr. David Palin.
They were.
And Michelle included.
Indeed.
And just awesome pictures.
You know, I'm right now looking through them again.
Are you?
Yeah. Because it's like infective. You laugh a little bit on the show when we talk.
Me?
And
I know. I listen
and
back
I
to the
enjoy-
show and I'm like, why? Who is this idiot laughing all the time?
Well, it's hard. It's hard not to laugh when you're working with me. I
Right,
know.
well,
I understand that. But you can't help but smile when you look through Michelle's stuff, or when you're lucky enough to have her on the phone or on the Skypes or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a breath of fresh air here in July in the heat and humidity.
Yeah.
So we want to hear about your gravel campaign this year.
Yeah, for sure. But before that, I got another question I want to ask Michelle first.
Okay.
Ask her
Of
what
all
she's working on.
all the pictures you took, what was your favorite one?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, didn't you? Are you the one that you did the one with the suntan
The
stripes,
racing
right?
stripes.
that one was definitely the most clever.
That was cool.
And my sunburn tan lines were really bad on the first day of April. So I looked hilarious.
And that was like one of the first days. You were like kicking it off strong.
Yeah, I think that was the first day. And then I was like, oh no, what have I done? I have to keep doing this now.
I have to keep this level of good pictures up. Oh my god. So yeah, well that was cool. But a lot of great pictures. But yeah, let's go, Mr. David Palin. We want to know about we know you did, and we eventually. Don't worry, Michelle. We're going to give you time to talk about anything you want to at some point. But we have like all these questions. How was Dirty Kanza?
You know, it was terrible.
That is pure honesty right there, Mr. Dave.
I know.
Like the race, it sucks. I did it last year too, and it was terrible last year. And it's just like one of those things where you finish and you're like, wow, that was awful. I think I can do better next year.
Right.
Yeah.
So it has a
come
lot in
back
common with
and-
an average cyclocross race.
Yeah, except it's, all day,
12 times
not
longer.
Right.
50 minutes.
Okay, well, did you do better this year than last year?
I did. I finished about 45 minutes faster.
Ooh,
so,
nice.
and the course was significantly harder. So I feel like that was a pretty good accomplishment.
Yeah, you would have done even better.
Yeah, if it had been the same course. This course was very bumpy and rocky, and it beat you up. I had blisters on my hands afterwards, and I had gloves on. So this was a new experience. I couldn't believe that could happen if you weren't mountain biking.
Right. Wow.
And it was hot.
Yeah.
It was so hot. And at that point, unless you lived in Texas, no one had hot weather like that. So everybody was out there just suffering in the heat and begging for water. We begged locals on the side of the road for water. It was just something
what was your feeling, Michelle, on the change of was it second checkpoint went away?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it wouldn't be that big of a deal because you can carry that much food with you. Yeah. As long as they gave us a place to stop for water, which they did. And then Education First actually sponsored an extra water stop, which was life-changing. So we could stop and we got extra cold water. They had some bandanas that they were soaking in ice, and that was really nice. Unfortunately, most people still ran out of food. So I did.
How far did you have to go?
I did the race. It was about 90 miles.
Okay.
That's a long time.
So it was quite a distance, and I did most of it. I did the whole thing actually with Mary Penta,
of the Midwest.
She was out of food, so I was feeding both of us.
Oh man!
Did you at least make her carry some of it?
No, I didn't.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, if you're going to eat this, you got to carry.
That's it. That's right. Well, she's got to do some work for you in the OVCX if you're coming back to the Midwest at all.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So besides the heat, that was not a big deal with the checkpoint and anything. Tell us about your equipment, because this is one of the things we get a lot of questions about. This is technically a tech show,
right?
Although it's. Who knows? It morphs into a lot of things. Right. But
head off Ryan Trebone's question, because he's going to send us a note, or Jeff Kabush.
Jeff Kabush.
Yeah. Did you indeed use aero bars? That's what everybody wants to know.
I did not.
Yeah. Okay.
So some people say that the aero bars are actually helpful because your hands hurt so bad that it lets you rest your hands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I would think that my elbows and shoulders and back would hurt if I was using aero bars. So I'm not convinced. Using aero bars on gravel does not sound very fun to me.
Yeah.
So I don't understand it even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some people put on two stems. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
No.
They put on two stems, and that way you can attach the aero bars to a fake stem kind of above your stem.
That's higher. Yeah.
That's higher.
Yeah.
So you're not laying as far forward, and you don't lose quite so much of your the top of your bars for hand positioning. To me, and I guess maybe this is why I didn't win Coast to Coast this year.
It's all came down to this.
It all came down to the fact I didn't use aero bars, not the fact that it took me 16 hours to cross the state. But I would agree. I don't see a huge advantage. I put them on at one point to just kind of try them out in my training, and I'm not a big fan.
Yeah. Michelle, what else? What kind of bike do you ride?
So I'm currently riding a 9er BSB, which is their cyclocross bike.
Yes.
I would love to have a gravel bike. I just don't right now, so that's what I'm using. But it fits 40 millimeter tires, so it works perfectly. So I went out there with the new Gravel King SK Pluses,
nice
which are
choice.
Set up tubeless?
Pretty great. Yeah, tubeless with orange seal.
Those are Pana racers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the new one that they developed for this event that their team has been using for a couple years.
Did you have one of the colored ones?
No, I did not. I don't think that one's coming in colors right now.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right.
It might be, but I just went into my local bike shop and said, I need a set of these.
I need anything you have in 40s.
I asked them to order me some.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's cool. And what about gearing?
I have Force 1 by set up with a 40 in the front and a 1042.
Oh, my.
Wow, that's a wide range.
Did you ever shift into the 10?
No.
But it was there.
Just in
But
case.
it was there.
Just in case.
Oh, well, that's
I
cool.
spent a lot of time in the 42.
40-42, and that's where I'm living.
How many flats?
Yeah.
How many flats, Michelle?
I had one.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
that's
not
really
too bad.
good.
I
That's
was
way
able to,
way below
able
the
to-
average.
able to plug it with the slab of bacon and
Nice.
carry on my way.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Nice.
It almost sealed. It was just a little bit too big
Okay.
Yeah.
to seal.
Was it
So.
on the tread or sidewall or?
It was a sidewall. It wasn't a sidewall cut. It was like a sidewall puncture.
Oh.
So it was a little odd.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it makes it easier to fix. So I was like, great, let's just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was nice.
Nice.
Last year I had a really big sidewall cut that had to put a tube in it and boot it and all that stuff. So I was glad that this one was easy to fix.
That's why
and
you
then
were- that's
not
why-
at risk for more flats.
That's why you were 42 minutes faster.
Yeah.
I don't think that was it. I think it's just because last year I was not prepared for how hard that race was going to be.
No, I'm just kidding. Do you have any? So we were just before we called you. We were like, "Where exactly is Michelle? Where do you live right now?" I mean, you don't have to don't give me your address or anything, but like, just like, what city do you live in?
I live on the west side of Portland in
Okay.
the west suburbs. So,
That's enough. Don't say anything more. The tour
Yeah.
buses will be passing your house. Next thing you know, people
Well,
pointing.
yeah, they should want to come here because this place is great. So
That's cool. That's cool. And now, did you have ties to the Midwest?
She went to
yeah, I
school
grew up in
here.
Indianapolis. I've basically always lived in Indianapolis. I
Okay.
went to school in Michigan, and then I went to Purdue.
Where'd you go
And
to
then
school
I-
in Michigan?
I went to Hope College.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I used to have a friend who went there. Cool.
yeah.
So do you have any sponsors right now?
I do not. I'm just riding on my own,
Oh man.
riding bikes.
Wow.
Somebody-
People got to get on top of this.
Yeah.
So tell us about your plans for cross this year.
So for cross, I actually have decided to take a little more low-key approach than I did last year and try and do some of these awesome fall gravel races that are happening.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot of cyclocross in Portland. And the big series is called Cyclocross Crusade. So I'm going
Right.
to do more of a Cyclocross Crusade campaign
Nice.
on
Cool.
my free weekends and probably not UCI race so much, if at all, this
Yeah.
year.
Oh.
So I'm kind of excited about that. It should be a lot more fun, I think.
Sherry's a viewer
UCI
of the
racing
show.
is stressful.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this decision.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Northwest, especially, Cross Crusades too, you see their flag everywhere. I mean, and they
Yeah, exactly.
they just kind of have their own scene up there, which is amazing. And yeah, they don't have to have sanctioned races because it's so popular.
Yeah.
They just do their own thing, and I just love it. It is awesome. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's very cool that you're doing that out there. For
And
sure.
then Nationals is up in Tacoma, so I
Yeah.
will definitely be there because it's like a 2-hour drive.
All
So
right,
it'll
yeah.
be fun.
Yeah, we have to figure out a way to like say hi because I'll be coming up for that.
Yeah.
So are you
I'm
going?
still yet to be convinced on that one.
yet to be convinced that it's going to actually be in Tacoma, or yet to be convinced that you are going to attend.
I have missed one in the last. I missed Connecticut,
yeah,
ironically,
you
because
meant-
I'm from the East Coast and I didn't go to Connecticut. But going to Reno really hit hard to me. How difficult it is, and how difficult it is for you now, Michelle, to travel from the Midwest to the West Coast.
It's a pain.
It's
From
hard.
the West Coast to the Midwest.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the neck. So I don't know. And I will be very interested, and it has nothing to do with my attendance. I would go to support it either way. But I'm really interested to see where so much of the Northwest is unsanctioned racing,
Yeah.
how much of a pull they will have of the local scene to do USAC national championships.
Yeah. I hope a lot. I hope they have a lot. I hope
so.
a lot of local racers.
Of course,
come.
I'm all for success in everything.
Yeah,
But a lot of the racers aren't Cat 3s
Right,
because
right.
they don't race
True. That's true.
USA
That's
cycling.
true. That's true. So.
Yep. So there we are there. Are you planning to come back this way for Red Kite Ronde? That's a gravel race coming up in a couple of weeks, week and a half.
You know, I wanted to,
Yeah.
but flights to Columbus are really expensive. So I was like, I just can't make that one work.
If you can
Instead,
fly into Detroit, we'll take you.
Or Toledo. That's another one.
Oh,
I have to work that weekend anyway, but I'm going to Tusher Crusher in Utah this weekend.
Okay.
So I
Oh,
think I'm
nice.
going to be pretty tired.
yeah, for sure. That's another great one. Yeah.
Are you coming back to the Midwest for anything you need? Like, are you going to do like Indy or anything like that?
I might. I'm kind of up in the air on that stuff right now.
All right,
I was
cool.
hoping to come back for Major Taylor because, that's my hometown and my race, But
So, like,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I decreased the number of races that I'm going to this year to work mechanic or do anything. But one of the ones I said, like, when I was setting my schedule is like, I'm definitely going to Major Taylor.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
one of the sure ones that I go to every single year because I love it so much.
Major Taylor, Cincy CX,
Those are like the anchors of my schedule every year.
Yeah.
and the Alma GP. Of course,
And the Alma GP, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. So, do you ride for a team?
Well, I mean, I'm always a member of the Midwest Devo support crew.
There you go.
So I've been told, at least, even though I live all the way out here.
They said you're
But
still.
other than that,
you're still a
I'm not on
member?
team. Yeah,
Do you wear your Midwest Devo jersey out there? You must have one.
absolutely. Yes.
Heck yeah.
I love those Midwest Devo kids. They're
They
awesome.
have some nice kit.
They get shout out in this show all the time.
I know. Well, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
They're one of the few people, like, we'll be driving down the expressway and they'll see the van and they're like beeping at me and waving as they go by.
And next thing we know, we see ourselves on Instagram.
Yeah, and then they right.
Yeah.
David Palmer's there with the Instagram.
Exactly.
always.
Yeah.
But it's also because they're just doing an amazing job.
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
David Palmer.
Yeah.
I mean, everything they do is they are just awesome
Yeah.
organization, and I just love even just knowing them and kind of just following what they're doing from year to year. So it's just cool that you have that connection, in the first place. So
They're a great group of people.
yeah, for sure. So, all right, Michelle, what else? Is there anything else you want to mention or talk about?
I don't know.
So here we go.
Any charity rides that you do that you want to like?
I do not right now. I don't know that many people out here yet. The cycling scene's a little bit different than it is in Indianapolis. So.
A lot of people don't know, probably, your background because you're not a cyclist from the beginning.
No, I've been riding bikes almost 3 years. I was thinking about it yesterday. I started
That's it?
in fall of 2016 when I was at Purdue.
Wow.
So it has been not even 3 years yet.
What made you how did you discover it?
When I got to Purdue, I had a friend from high school that I reconnected with, and she was on the cycling club, and she was like, "Hey, you should come and do this with me." And I was like, "No."
But you were an athlete.
That's super weird. Yeah. And then a week later, I showed up with a bike.
What
And
what
she
did
promptly quit. But
what did you do before that? Were you like a runner or something, or tries or something?
I was a runner and a swimmer.
Okay.
So I did cross-country swimming and track in high school, and then in college I was a swimmer exclusively.
No,
So
okay.
I finally found an endurance sport that is fun.
Meaning
Swimming or
gravel racing?
I mean, bike racing in general is way more fun. Swimming is not fun. You have
And
to hold your
running.
breath and you don't get to talk to anybody.
Right. And we all know running is just torture.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why I quit that first.
Running was always a punishment in any other sport I did.
Right.
Yeah.
I played soccer in high school. If you missed the goal, go run a lap. If you showed
Yeah.
up late, go run a lap. It's like,
Oh, that's funny. So, well, cool. Anything else you want to talk about?
I want to hear compare and contrast because now we're always wondering. And Dr. T is now talking about Dirty Kanza. And you did them both.
Right.
Dirty Kanza and Coast to Coast.
You don't
I
necessarily
mean-
have to say one is better, but like,
Well, we all know Coast to Coast
I mean,
is better. but-
coast to coast is better.
Yeah.
It is.
Is it really?
I think that Coast to Coast was really fun.
Yeah.
I think that, obviously they're both well put on events. Matt Ecker does a great job. I went the first year and they did a great job.
which is rare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. And the thing is that Dirty Kanza has that prestige.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I want to go do this one because it's Dirty Kanza.
So I can say I did it.
Even
yes.
though, like, the course is, bland and it's hard and it's hot and you're just like out in the wind and the sun all day. Like coast to coast, like the first half is a little bit on the boring side, but then like you're in the forest the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah. See, now you didn't take the time that I did to enjoy the forest. You just rushed right through. I sat back.
We were having a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, I know you guys did. I know you did. I love that classic picture of Palmer and Conway going through that puddle with legs out and stuff, right?
You know what?
When I got there, it was already dried up.
Me because I was running SRAM 2x at the time, and that is like a pure road group set.
Right,
so as soon as I got dirt in it stopped working. So I was basically like single speeding the whole day. So like I'm stuck in like my easiest gear going downhill, and they all they drop me. And so then they got that cool photo going through the funnel.
Oh, and you should have been with them.
But like I had a sweet one by myself. But like it would have been cool if we were all together and we weren't.
Yeah.
Because they were like, I'm not waiting for this girl.
But you powered through to stay with them, and they managed to stay with you for the picture on the shades, I noticed.
Yeah.
Zach did not have a great campaign this year.
No, I don't know what happened. I haven't really talked to him. So
yeah, I spoke with him briefly, and he didn't finish this year.
Oh,
yeah, it sounded like he had some eating problems and made the decision that it was not best to go on. Yeah. Which, if you can't eat, is probably a good decision.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Dave Palin. Anything else?
Nothing I have. I think we need to include her in it. Do we have any Q&A that we need to throw by Michelle?
Q&A? No, we didn't we don't have a lot of questions.
Oh, because we didn't do a good enough job of telling people that Michelle would be here for Q&As.
Well, Michelle, it's just a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for
thank you
for participating. We'll do another April CX challenge, I think, in April.
Yeah, we may have something else. You talked about some other challenges coming up, possibly.
That's right. That's right. See. And if you come to Indy, definitely stop by the van.
Yeah, of course.
Because I will definitely be there in the van. If not, I won't have the van in Tacoma, but we'll have to figure out a way to say hi or something.
You might want it because, it's going to probably look a lot like Louisville in December did.
Well, I just don't want to drive that far.
It rains up here in the winter.
Yeah. I just don't want to drive that far. So it's like
it is a long
40 plus hours of driving, know. So
yeah.
I just don't want to do that. So.
It's quite the drive that I luckily have not ever made. Yeah. So.
Well, we will keep following you on Instagram. What is your social media connection so people can follow you?
I'm only on Instagram, but it's just my name, Michelle Hance.
Okay.
All lowercase. I'm not very clever, so I made a boring Instagram handle.
And that's HANCE, just so people know. So
it is.
All right. Well, we will keep following you. Thank you so much for participating. Yeah. Thank you for listening. And
thank you.
Thanks for being on the show.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great rest of the day. And I'll send you an email when the show's up.
Sounds great.
All right, Michelle. Thanks again. Bye.
Thanks, Michelle.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right, Scotty D. It's an early morning for her to get up and get on the show here. She's all the way on the left side of the
it's only
country.
11 a.m. here, so it's like
8 a.m.
Yeah.
You think she got a good night's rest last
night? Well, you know how she could find out if she got. I'm talking about Whoop Whoop. One of our new sponsors. It's amazing. Go to whoop.com/ Well, you use the word bike shop, I think, if you order, and check it out. It's a way that you can, there's all these training assistant things that that measure your workouts, right?
Right.
Whoop looks at it a little bit differently. They're like, let's actually look at your rest.
Yeah.
How well are you rested? Are you getting enough sleep, etc.? And let you know if there's maybe some things you can improve. So check out the Whoop. Did you get one?
I'm still Whoopless, but Craig North has now got the Whoop strap on.
Yes.
See him every day with that Whoop strap as that reminder that he's in better shape and more committed than I am.
He is.
Yeah. Dr. Tracy B has got one on order. She had a particular color that she wanted that wasn't readily available, but they're sending her one. And the thing that they send you is the strap,
right,
which they send you for free.
Yep.
It charges. It's on you 24 hours a day. unlike a smartwatch and stuff where you got to take it off and put it and
I think it lasts like 5 days on one
like
charge.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
And I guess it does recharge while it's still on you.
Oh.
Somehow. I'm
Cool.
not sure how yet.
Yeah.
But that said, what you pay for is the service, and what you're getting is the analysis of your heart rate.
It's like a subscription.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Bike Shop CX viewers get a 15% discount.
That's right. Just use the code word Bike Shop. Go to whoop.com. Check it out. I think you'll really like it.
I think so.
So I can't wait to see more. I'm definitely curious to hear what Dr. T has to say about it too, because
she's a data person.
Because I value her input.
I do too.
All right, Mr. David Pound.
Yes,
we
sir.
were talking about, and you know what? Let's just thank you to Michelle for being on again. That was so awesome. I hope she got her money's worth.
We know we sure did.
But it was great having her on. I know she's been out there from the Midwest, so there's kind of a local connection. So that's kind of cool. So
and Michelle's one of those people, and I hope it came through to our viewers. I met her the first time. I think it was at one of the Cap City Cross races.
Okay.
Super laid back.
Yeah.
And I met her. She was a viewer. I don't think I met her when we did Coast to Coast. So this was after Coast to Coast, and it was just like we had that conversation just there. Friendly, nice, like we had been friends for years.
yeah,
And
that's
that just comes across. She's super strong, super confident in her cycling, and super. There you go. I'm overusing that adjective, so I'm just going to stick with it.
I'm not going to point it out. I'm just going to go with it. All right. Well, Mr. David Pound, before we get on, actually, now that we've already talked to Michelle, let's put the questions all to the one side. We only have a few, but I want to talk. We said last time we were going to talk about the chain checker stuff. So I do want to get to that. I do want to get to that on this show. And the reason I bring it up is because I was helping someone with their bike, and they were misusing the chain checker, thinking their chain was still good when it was, in fact, not good.
Right.
So I thought, you know what? Let me just go kind of briefly. I know we've talked about them before. We've talked about chain wear. I'm not going to get into roller ball or roller bearing wear and inner plate versus outer plate, all that stuff.
Right,
I mean, we could sit and beat that to death, right?
Or the new muck-off chain. Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
It's 6,000 pounds. That's not in weight. That's how much it costs. A 6,000. So, whatever that is.
What's it made out of?
8,000 baby tear lubricating
unicorn
horn or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So chain checkers. One of the things people often forget about, if you're just at the side of the road and you're wondering about your chain, is if you shift into your high gear in the rear, so your smallest number of teeth in the rear,
Right.
and you have your chain on the big ring in front, if you can just kind of pull, if you're looking straight on your chain ring, you pull it from about 3 o'clock. If you can pull that off your chain ring,
not a good thing.
and you can see, I mean, every chain will move a little bit, right? But if you can pull it off and you can see a significant gap between your chain and the chain ring, that could mean, one, your chain ring is toast,
right,
for sure, or it could also mean is an indication of chain wear. So that's just kind of a quick idea. If you just, while you're sitting there having your Coke and donuts, just kind of reach down and, pull that chain and be like, or you feel it and be like, oh no, that's really tight still. I can still check it when I get home. But always just kind of do that as your initial, It's a good way to just do it, anytime you want. Very simple. One of the things that you always have to balance with chain checkers, I know there's a lot of people that think the best way to check a chain is, and to be honest, the best way to check a chain is to measure the entire length of the chain.
That is true.
Right?
Yep.
The disadvantage of that is it's a pain in the butt, and how often are you going to do it? Right. So to use chain checkers, this is what drives me crazy, is people argue over the most accurate chain checker.
Right.
The best chain checker is the one that you will use.
Yep. That's why I always like what I call the go, no-go chain checkers.
Yeah,
right?
So there's several of those. Like I said, the best one is the one you guys. There are slight different variances in accuracy, but the ones that aren't quite as accurate all err on the side of being sensitive, right? So they're gonna the way that they would err would be to tell you that a chain is worn a little bit more than it may actually be. So it's never going to put you in the point where you're running a chain that's too long. You might be replacing your chain a little bit earlier than absolutely necessary, but this is not a end of the world kind of thing, right?
But far better a little earlier rather than a little
later. Of course. So some of the brands that are being made, of course, Park has a couple, the CC2 and the CC3.
Right.
Those are go, no go, like you were talking about. Well, I think the CC2 is the one with the pins, with the little lever that pushes the pins out.
That will measure it and give you fairly accurate measurement until you drop it once and you bend that pin.
And
then it's...
Or you can just bend the pins by really
squeezing too hard.
The lever.
Yeah.
So, that one has issues. And that one is one of the ones that is measuring roller wear, right?
Right.
So, okay, whatever. The CC3 also does... If you use the CC3 is the one that looks a little bit like a large T. And this is the one the guy was using...
Right.
who I helped out. And it is a go, no go. It will either...
I'm trying to figure how someone could use that wrong because it's pretty straightforward. Right. At least seems to me.
I'm going to tell you. This is... So, when you do use that, you should always set the one side between two inner plates of your chain.
Right.
That's how it's designed to be. So the part where the hooks go in should go between two inner plates, not two outer plates. People sometimes just randomly pick whatever.
Wherever it goes.
So try and get it in two inner plates. But then
shouldn't the distance be the same?
As you it's what Park says. So
that's what Kelvin says.
There is a slight difference because of how you're measuring outer plate versus inner plate wear.
Okay.
So, and then the other side drops down, and that little post on the far end of that should not go into the space.
Right.
If it doesn't go into the space, it means your chain is still good.
Right.
If it does go into the space, that's why it's no go. Go.
Right.
If it goes, it's bad.
Right. It's the 0.75 and the 1.
Right. It has two different
sides.
Two different percent, and those are percentages of wear.
Right. 75%.
Not millimeters. So it's 0.75%, but anyways, it's not 75%.
It's 75% worn.
It's 75% worn. Okay, yes, correct. That is correct way to say it. Okay. It's not 75% stretched, is what I was thinking. That would be long.
Yeah. It's almost twice its original length.
It's 1 3/4 times its original length. Anyways, and so then that was what the guy was doing wrong. He thought if it goes in, it's still good. I'm like, no.
So you had to wear the chain out beyond its useful life.
You have to wear the chain
it started
until it hits the rivet behind it. Right? I guess. So, anyways, we corrected that, and that problem is solved. But there's a couple. Pro Gold makes one, and that's the one of the kind that like you hook into one rivet, and then it has like a slider that slides down, and that will give you a percentage.
Right. Yep.
So it's a little bit. It's the same idea as the go no goes, but gives you a percentage. A lot of people like that one. Whipperman makes one. That's a go no go. There's a Speed Tech one. KMC makes that little digital one. I don't know if you've ever seen. It looks like a digital caliper kind of thing, but it's specific for that. So that's cool. Of course, you can just use a ruler, right?
Right.
And measure 12 inches of rivets, and the rivet should fall
on
if you start at 0, the other rivet should fall right on 12. Mm-hmm. The disadvantage of that one is you have to make sure it's easy to let your arm to not be holding it at the 0 as you're looking at the 12, and
any sag in the chain when you're spreading it out.
It can just skew. So it's a lot of things. And like I said, the most accurate way is to hang it. A lot of people will compare it to a brand new chain.
Right.
Bum, 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 bum. The problem with that is brand new chains oftentimes still have stretch. They're not measured. They're not perfect, right? They're not tight, a perfect half-inch links all the way down that chain. So it's better. If you really want to get into this and really get like accurate, it's better to mark off the distance based on how many links it's a half an inch per link, right?
Right.
So however many links you're measuring, if it's 100, then it's 50, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then use that mark on the rivet to know is this stretched or not, and then how far am I past the rivet with it hanging, and that's easy to look at, easy to measure. But again, it's a pain
if you're
in the
measuring with in particular, a ruler or a pair of calipers or whatever, you also have to measure to the same part of the rivet
every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
And it's, of course, you should, leading edge to leading edge or trailing edge to trailing edge. Don't try to measure center to center because you'll never get center to center right.
So probably the most accurate of the quick check chain checkers is the Shimano and the Pedros ones because they use the 3-point check where you put the center post in, you push against the backside with the arced like tooth-looking thing, and then you drop the third point into the chain, and that gives you a go, no-go.
Right.
The Shimano, that eliminates the roller wear and only is taking into account the plate wear. The plate wear. Right. So that's the TLCN 41 is the big Shimano one. It's the one that we often talk about. Is it a bird or is it a rabbit?
Right.
People will know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So, and that's a go, no-go one. And that's probably, if you really want to get technical about the accuracy, that's probably the most accurate one. But again, the best one is the one you'll use. If you've got one and that's what you want to use, that's fine. Yeah. Just use it. Use it and check it. The other thing, really quickly, without getting into a full-on thing about chains, is check it in more than one place.
Yes.
A lot of times, I always check at least 3 or 4, but really like 5 is really good too. So check it in multiple spots, right?
And if possible, clean it before you check it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that little layer of sand or grit or whatever,
especially if it's a cyclocross or a gravel chain bike, or mountain bike, something like that,
that's going to play into it.
For sure. So, do all that stuff, check it. And if any one of those spots is stretched, then the chain is stretched.
Yep.
So, don't think it's the average or it's only 1 out of the 5 I checked, so it's probably still good. Yeah. No. That means it's not good. So,
you don't just throw out the outlier in this case.
Right.
Yeah. And yes, replacing chains often can get kind of pricey.
Yes.
It's far less pricey than changing cassettes and chain rings.
On your race bike, on your high-quality cassettes, for sure that's the case. You know, sometimes, like if it's a commuter bike, it's a lot of times, nowadays, some of those, if you're on an 8-speed chain and an 8-speed, they're almost the same price. So
it's true.
Those I'll let go a little bit longer sometimes just because because it's no more expensive to. Right. If you do find someone that's been running a stretch chain for a long time, it's a really good idea. Just change the cassette too.
You know what I tell people often is if you've run it to the point where it's stretched and you've damaged the cassette, if it's shifting, just wait till it doesn't shift well, and then because you're going to have to replace them both anyway.
Yeah. You're ready.
You're not going to do more damage. Well, you are going to do more damage to the cassette, but if you were to change just the chain, it's not going to shift well.
It's not going to shift well,
and it's certainly not going to repair the cassette. So just run it until it will. They will not shift. At some point, it won't shift well anymore.
The only danger you're going to run into
is
there
chain rings.
Or the chain breaking.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, you got a big steep climb in a cross race and you stand on the pedal and your chain breaks. It kind of sucks. So, but if it's just your training bike or something like that,
if it's your commuter,
or especially if it's your commuter or something,
you
can let those go a little bit longer. So, all right, Mr. David Pallin, there you go. Any other chain checker input?
No. Well, one other thing. Most of them have a groove or a slot cut out or a hole drilled in them. Put a string through it and hang it on your work stand.
Yeah.
If it is at hand, every time you put that bike up, whether to clean it, wash it, change things, whatever, it's right at hand. You don't have to go back over to the bench or find it in your pit bag. You will check your chain more often.
It's also a good thing if you work at a shop, just keep it in your pocket. If you're like the person that does service write-ups or something like that, it's an easy thing because you're not trying to rip people off, but you can immediately show them and they can visually see you check it and understand why you are charging them this extra $30 dollars to put a new chain on because you're showing them before they've even left the shop. You're showing them your chain is stretched and here's why. I can show you and you can see it and they can go, oh. And most, in my experience, most people, if you show them that, they're like, oh yeah, put a new chain on, please. So,
and it shows a level of professionalism that we're not just going to make your bike look shinier. We check these things,
right?
It's important.
Yeah. So, all right, there you go. Well, let's get on to some questions and let's start with our audio.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's start with our audio snippet. Are you ready for this, Mr.
I'm ready
David
for that.
All right, here we go.
Scotty D and Mr. David Palin. What's going on? This is JB, race director of the Alma Grand Prix and ride promoter for the Alma Glen Gravel Ramble, which I'm certain David is going to just nail that one. Love the variations that you've put on that. Glen Close was probably the farthest away from reality on that, but anyway, keep up the good work there. Just wanted to send you a quick viewer voicemail. I don't know what this is. To say thanks, especially to Mr. Scotty D, for all of the help with the Alma Glen Gravel Ramble. I want to make sure that your viewers know it's not like you just sat out at aid station number 2 and kicked your feet up all day. You were aid station number 2, and I appreciate your dedication to helping people have a good time riding bikes. Second, wanted to say thank you for all your work on the podcast. I've been a listener, not quite since day 1, but it's got to have been pretty early in the Bike Shop Show days. I know you spend a lot of time editing all this. Your viewers and your listeners and your fans in general appreciated all your work. So anyway, thanks so much. Take care. See ya.
Wow, JB P.T. Barnum himself.
P.T. Barnum of Michigan Cyclocross. What else can you say?
Yeah, Glen Gravel, Glen Ramble, Glen Close. I know you know how much work he does for the Alma GP to get celebrity riders there. I actually have the skinny on a rider that they're going to have this year, one of the pros coming this year.
Yes.
And I'm pretty excited about that. I'll wait for him to say it's okay for us to announce it, either JB or the professional rider himself.
Well,
that said,
I have
here's
another
the
announcement,
idea.
though. Yeah.
Glen Close should do the Glen Gravel. JB, get on that, man. There it is. Glen Gravel, Glen Ramble, Glen Gary, Glen Ross.
But speaking of
Glen
the Alma
Close.
GP.
Yes, sir.
So I can officially announce that it's official.
Yeah?
That I'm going to go back to the Alma GP this year, man.
Go back to your roots. You're slumming.
Yeah, I was
Are you
thinking,
going to try to push me off the Tahoe Avalon boat and
no.
go back to announcing?
I might be pitting for the person you were just talking about, but other than that, yeah, I'm going to go up and hang out at the Alma GP this year. I'm not going to go to Rochester, which is one of my favorite UCI races every single year.
Yeah.
But I'm going to forego that to go to the Alma GP this year because you guys just have too much fun.
Yeah. That's just what we needed. Our adult in the room. Scott Herman, listen to that. We're not going to have nearly as much fun this year.
I'm going to keep my eye on you guys.
So I'll be sleeping in a tent. It's a 2-person tent, so it's kind of roomy.
Yeah.
Scott Herman, I'm sure, is dragging the trailer, and he'll be sleeping in his bike trailer / fold-down cot.
It's not a travel trailer. It's
No.
like a work trailer. It's like a
It's
equipment
an announcing
It's an
trailer.
equipment
Yeah.
trailer, I think they're called. Yeah.
And you will be sleeping where? On the ground, out in the bivvy? Or what are you going to do?
I will be in the new Airstream.
Will it be wrapped? Will it have the Bike Shop CX wrapping at that point? Or no?
No. It
Be
won't
wrapped
ever,
as a big mic? It's going to be a big podcast mic?
It won't ever have that. I got to decide if I'm going to pull that with the van or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude, I've never towed anything in my life. So
At all?
ever.
Oh, that's so funny because I learned to drive at 13 years old, towing boat trailers. When we used to go boating every weekend. My dad, my sister, and I, and we'd have to Dad would stand by the boat,
right?
And I would go up. He'd toss me the keys. I'd have to back a trailer down a boat ramp with a big old station wagon.
At 13 years
At
old.
13 years old, I could barely see over the back seat.
You can barely see over it now.
That's
so
true.
I'm sure you can
that is true. Yeah. And my dad was so proud, and my sister and I's later, people would be coming down, with a jackknife their trailers and stuff. He's like, "Hey, I could have my 13-year-old son do that for you if you need it." So yeah, if you need help.
Oh, that's funny. Well, yeah, and if it's just too long, and I'm like, I got to just see how
he's
the
looking
two
for
things are going to
pull-throughs.
pull.
That's what he's going to look for, all the pull-throughs, parking spaces.
Right. If not, I'll tow it with the Forerunner. So
yeah.
That's the beauty of getting the smallest one is you can tow it with almost anything. So all right, we have 3 emails that I want to read.
All right.
They're very simple and straightforward. The first one is from a friend of the show, friend of the pod,
Yeah.
Mickey Vukovic.
Mickey Vukovic, who is here.
Who was just here, got to hang out with him, went to some skate parks and say hi and talk about skateboarding with him. That was very cool.
I was lucky enough. We went out to...
You went out to dinner with him. I went out to dinner with him different times, but we both went out to dinner while I was here because you were doing Coast to Coast that weekend. But anyways, he says... He's talking about the holiday special that I put up, and he just says that was really fun to watch it on YouTube and listen to your play-by-play. More, please. Thanks, Mickey. There you go.
There it is.
One more reason why.
You'll be doing a lot of those, I'm sure. They're pretty straightforward. It's just you. There's almost no work in it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No work at all. No work at all.
Oh, man. I listened to him, and I know I said this earlier in the show. I said it to you before. The work involved in that, viewers, is so high.
I bet you saw how many pages of notes I had. It was at least 25, 30 pages of notes. Yeah. And I bet I watched that race 7 or 8 times completely. And then I watched it while I was doing it. And so anyways, another message from Pete. Pete said, he titled it Independence Day Special.
All right.
Pete says, I loved this. More, please. I listened while stretching, and you created a vivid picture in my mind.
Oh.
I had watched the YouTube of the race a while back and had no sense of the drama that you conveyed. How about the 2013 World Championship next? Thank you for all you do, Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good one to do, too.
Yeah.
A race where Sven has a completely different day than he did in 2007.
Far fewer crashes.
Far fewer crashes than the 3 he had in 2007. So, yeah, that's definitely a possibility. But, all right, now we have one real question. This is actually a tech question. This is from Gravel Dave in Connecticut. You're familiar with Gravel Dave, right?
Dave.
And he says, "Hey, Master Piston Magicians, I'm about to embark on the
Pistons.
I'm about to embark on the SRAM dangling lever Master Piston fix from episode 37, right, back in October. Quick question, can that be reasonably done with the lever still attached to the bar and bar tape untouched? Thanks, Gravel Dave." And the answer is yes. Yeah, you don't need to take all that stuff off. Nope, you can leave. I advise if you have a work stand, which I believe Gravel Dave does, put it in the work stand and just how the old, did I tell you the story about the original park work stand?
You did.
If you go watch my YouTube videos where I tour the park plant with Calvin,
I remember that.
They have the original park work stand, the first one that they made as a prototype that they just kind of used in the shop.
Right. And they talk about why blue.
And it isn't blue; it's silver.
Right, but they talk about how it developed from there. I remember that show. Yeah. That was a very good show.
So, and the original idea of the park work stand was you'd put the bike in, and then you would flip the bike upside down, and you do all the work upside down. Yeah, because it doesn't really matter if you learn it how you learn it, right?
Right.
So that's what you want to do with this: is if you have your work stand, put the bike in, flip it upside down, so your brake levers are pointing up.
Okay.
Right, and that will give you complete access to everything you need to do this, to do the dangling lever fix. So there you go. That's my recommendation. And while you got it there, think if it's only one, think about doing them both.
That's a good point.
While you're right there. So, all right, Gravel Dave, thank you for that.
And remember, that dot fluid is caustic.
Yeah, don't forget to use dot fluid, and don't forget you need the special grease, the dot fluid grease,
right?
That Avid makes, and don't just use regular grease. Use the dot specific grease, and you won't have any problems. It's nowhere near as difficult as it sounds.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. David Palin. I think we covered everything this week.
We did. Let's give ourselves a pat on the back and a high five. Good for us.
If people want to get in touch with you or talk to you about anything or what you're doing, where should they go?
They should hit me up on the Instagram at Mr. David Palin. I'm also on Twitter at Mr. David Palin, but mostly on Instagram at this point. And check us out. Come to the Red Kite Ronde in Grimpeur, Ohio.
Are you still doing that with the with Doug and
as far
John?
As I know, that's the plan.
Are they not communicating?
I'm not going to say. I'm going to say I speak to one more than the other, and that one is a little concerned about the other who hasn't been keeping up his training load. So I don't want to rat anybody out. I'm just going to say, don't die in July is what they're going with, and I'm starting to really appreciate that. So,
also, everybody, don't forget to come if you're on the fence. Come to the Trek World Cup. We are going to be there. I think the entire wide angle podium is going to be there. It is going to be a blast.
Yeah, it is.
If you want to see these new fangled mics that we're using, and these are the ones I'm going to bring, you can see those.
Yeah.
I think we should line up all our roadcasters together if everybody brings...
The dueling roadcaster.
It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have a nice setup there, and we're going to... Do you want to say what we've been selling? I kind of gave it away the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, let's talk.
Go ahead.
We are commissioning.
Yeah.
Artist renditions are in. We're commissioning Bike Shop CX socks.
Everybody always wants socks. You always need more socks, right? Because they wear out, they get dirty or whatever, and you got to just get rid of them and get new ones to replace them with. So let's keep the design kind of under wraps, right? We won't tell about the design, but it incorporates podcasting in some way,
Indeed.
Right? So there we go. And they're cool color, and I think they're just going to be awesome. And we're going to have them for people if they want to just say hi and grab a pair of those.
Yeah, for sure. I'll tell you, socks. I'm a big fan. I brought over your own Amanda Panda
right,
socks.
my new updated pair.
Yep,
Yes,
I've got 2 pair that I got this year.
Uh-huh.
And you can always use more socks.
Exactly.
Not only do you wear them out, but at the end of, and this used to be a ritual I would go through when I was doing all-day events for the MS Society and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you, even before you just shower or do anything, take off your shoes and put on a new pair of socks.
Yep.
Your life is changing.
I used to do the half marathons when I was running a lot. As soon as I'd finish, I'd go over to, you're going to hang out and eat your banana and your bagel for a little while. But before I did that, I'd have a fresh pair of socks sitting on my on the seat of my car, and I'd put those on. Even if I just stuck, and then I'd always get my shoes off and get a different pair of shoes on. And you feel like you're like a new person.
Change your life
instantly. Yeah. So
these will be life-affirming socks.
Maybe people will come and get a pair and then put them on right there.
We could record them putting on the new socks.
And telling us about it.
Tell us, close your eyes, describe the feelings they're going through with the new socks.
All right, and if you want to get a hold of me, Scott Diedenbach, check me out at BikeShopCX on Instagram, at BikeShopCX on Twitter. And people, you see, we this is the time of year when we get the fewest number of questions, right? It's summer. People aren't thinking about cyclocross. I think, speaking of that, on the next show, remember we've done this in the past, we're going to start talking about where should you be in your cyclocross readiness? Because we're getting close, guys. Yeah. One thing I want to mention.
He said guys, but he means people.
Yeah, I mean people.
Because I was thinking, you don't have to worry about racing against Michelle Hance in the early season now.
Unless you're going to go up to Cross Crusade.
Yeah.
But think about if you're going to get new tires, you should be lining those up right now because guess what? They will be sold out very soon. So start thinking about your cyclocross tires now. If they are in stock now and you're going, well, I'll get them a little later. No. Buy them right now because they will be gone. So we're going to talk about stuff like that coming up on the next show, where you should be in your overall preparedness. Because I think last time we did this, we ended up with your bike hanging on a hook with nothing attached to it, right? An empty frame. Mm-hmm. So if people are still in that state, we might want to start
dangling
moving
some bits on that bike of yours.
Start moving in the direction of having a complete working bike at this point.
Yeah.
So
it's a good time to start taking attendance on your bike. And,
that's right.
See what's there and what's not. My bike doesn't have cranks on it right now.
Those you need those.
Yeah, as it turns out.
So send us questions of that and send them to bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
Bikeshopshow@gmail.com.
All right, Mr. David Palin, that's it for this week. I'll see you next time.
And with that, the bike shop is closed.
All right, that is the show for this week. I hope everybody dug it. As always, thank you so much to all of our show sponsors, including but not limited to the Wide Angle Podium. We're proud members of the Wide Angle Podium. Grimpeur Brothers Coffee. Get over to GrimpeurbRothers.com. Buy yourself some of the full schleck. Or hello, cyclocross friends. Support the network and support the show. HealthIQ.com/WAP for Wide Angle Podium. Go get yourself some life insurance and whoop! Check out what how your resting is coming with your workouts, not just your workouts. It's really cool, and we're really glad to have them on the show as well now. As always, send your tech questions to bikeshopshow@gmail.com. And check out the parts bin. There's a lot of cool things going on in the parts bin at Wide Angle Podium. If you get a chance to subscribe to that feed, I think you'll really like it. Some of the non-cycling stuff that we're all into and doing shows of. And if you want to make this all a lot easier, just get the WAP app. I do the WAP app, and I can get all of our shows very simply. I love the way that thing works, and it just makes it so easy. So I recommend getting over there and getting the WAP app. And like we said on the show, I think next time we're going to talk about starting our preparedness for cyclocross. I know it doesn't seem like it's that far away, but CX is coming, season is coming, so we need to be starting to get ready. So we're going to go through that again. So send us questions on that specifically, if you think of it, bikeshopshow@gmail.com. All right, with this great weather out there, I hope everybody is getting out there and riding. If you are getting out there and riding, you know the drill. Be careful out there, everyone, and take care of each other out there. And until next time, the bike shop is closed.